Have you ever noticed that most of the times whenever you get into certain situations you don't want to be in, that it ultimately comes down to controlling your mouth, controlling the tongue? You know, it says in the Bible that man can control all things. We can tame animals. We can control a ship by just the use of a rudder, and it's crazy how humans, we can control almost everything. But there's one thing that we have so much trouble with, and that is our mouth. On a daily basis, how often do you just pay attention to the words that come out of people's mouths? 10 times out of 10, it's negative. It is contradicting. It is deceitful. It is backstabbing, judgmental. It's just not righteous. And as I'm talking about this topic, I'm also talking about myself. So I don't want people to think that as I'm giving out a lesson or trying to open your eyes to a certain truth, that I'm not talking about myself. We are all sinners here, and we all need grace, we all need mercy, and we all need Jesus, because we are imperfect. And one of the main things that we need to be mindful of is our mouth. How much on a daily basis, when you go throughout your day, are you saying good things, encouraging things, things that can make somebody smile, things that can make somebody chase their dream, or to live better, or to be a better parent, or to fix their marriage? How often do we use our mouth to help people? Because if I can think about all the times that somebody speaks to me on a daily basis, or some of the words that even I say myself are untrustworthy. You know, it's untrustworthy. And I noticed that if you just learn how to be quiet, it will save you from so much trouble. We often don't want to be in certain situations, and we think to ourselves, how did I get here? How did I get here? And if you look back, it all comes down to the things that you said. It all came down to the things that you said. Our mouth often puts us in situations that we just don't want to be in. And then whenever we get into that situation, we become a little bit aware, and then we start to say to ourselves, you know what? Next time, I'm not saying nothing. Next time, I'm not dealing with it. I'm going to tell them I don't even want to hear it. It's just best for me not to know nothing, because I can keep myself out of trouble. And then the next day you go back to work, or wherever whatever you do on a daily basis, and then you can't help but start talking. And then you don't realize it, but then you naturally just start talking about people. You start judging people and how they do things. You start getting frustrated with people. And so what happens is you start saying small negative things. You don't realize it, but you start to say small negative things. And people are so untrustworthy. People are so untrustworthy with words that they'll take whatever you said and make it into whatever version that they thought they heard. And then whatever they thought they heard, they're going to tell the next person whatever they thought they heard. And then he's going to change that a little bit more as well. So whatever gets back to the person is just not even the truth. But when you think about it, it just ultimately comes down to, okay, what if I just shouldn't have said nothing at all? If I would have kept my mouth closed, I wouldn't be in this situation. But here I am. Here I am. Now I got to deal with the consequences of not keeping my mouth closed. One thing I learned is that whenever you keep your mouth closed, not only does it give power to your words, But people just start to listen more. When you speak too much, people just tend to dull their listening to the sound of your voice. They've heard it too much. It's meaningless to them. But whenever you just sit back and you listen, you watch and evaluate and don't speak, oftentimes people will naturally think that, this person over here has not said anything, but man, I can see that they're listening. And most people associate that with wisdom. And then they'll listen more. So then your words carry more weight if you don't use your words too much. There's so much negativity in over speaking and over communicating. Say what you gotta say and move on. But the moment you start to ramble and you can't cut off the faucet, you're going to start spilling. You're going to start spilling. And what's going to happen is you're going to start bringing up and talking about topics that shouldn't have even been brought up in the first place. Now, all you're doing is giving people ammo. You're just giving people ammo. And there's people out there like that who just don't know how to stop talking. They'll come up to you, they'll start talking, and the person who doesn't have much to say, you can just sit there and listen. And the person who's just not used to silence, they'll keep talking. They'll keep talking. You can not even be looking at them and they'll just continue to talk. But if you just listen, they'll tell you so much things about who they are. They'll tell you so much about their life, things you don't need to know. They'll just start saying it because they can't sit in silence. And what happens is when you keep talking, you start giving out things about yourself you are not supposed to give out. Things that should be private are now public. Things that you should be dealing with internally, you're now dealing with internally and outwardly because people now know your business. I think it's crazy how we don't realize how often our mouth puts us in bad situations. They often put us in bad situations. Now, if you be mindful and aware of your words, when you use them, how you use them, they can be powerful. They can uplift others. They can change your life. It can put you in a better living situation. But you got to be aware of the tongue. You have to be aware of not only what you're saying out loud, but you also need to be aware of what you're saying in words. People's biggest enemy is themselves. So most times, whatever people speak out loud, most of the times that is exactly how they speak internally to themselves. So if there's somebody out here who's just cursing, who belittles people, who continues to just use words in a way that it shouldn't be used, that's how they talk to themselves. So first, give those people grace because they are not aware of where they currently stand. But for the people who are aware, give them grace and learn from their mistakes. Learn the difference in learning when to be quiet and when to speak. But not everything needs to be said. Sometimes the best power comes from learning the knowledge you take in and not saying anything, because then people will just start showing you their true colors. So I just encourage you today to take the time to think before you speak. Think about what you just said. Think about what you've said throughout the day to whatever person you've communicated with, and ask yourself and evaluate yourself. Did I help somebody or did I bring somebody down? Did somebody go chase their dreams or did they give up? Did I judge somebody or did I have forgiveness and mercy? And then when you start evaluating yourself, you start to bring about awareness. And whenever awareness comes in, then that's when you start to see where you need to grow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did get any knowledge from it, please subscribe, like, and share this to the next person who needs it. We shouldn't be out here just speaking, talking empty words. We need to learn how to communicate and when not to communicate. Love you guys. Until next time.